Welcome back to day 2 of Photography Week. If you haven't had a chance to watch day 1, you can check that out below. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the Photography Bundle by 5 Day Deals, definitely check that out. The link is below as well. So many great products from so many different professional photographers who just want to help you improve and grow. Today we're going to be talking about how to get everything working and put together to create your photo. There's a lot to think about when it comes to shooting with manual mode. You've got to think about your settings, your focal point, your white balance, your composition, the light, your subject, maybe they're running away. It can start to feel overwhelming, and we definitely don't want you to feel that way. So I want to break it down for you and help you so that you can start to feel more comfortable behind your camera when shooting in manual mode. So I was talking with a friend the other day, and we were both talking about how when we started, it just felt overwhelming like this. It's just so much to think about. She has a little one she's photographing. I had a little one when I was starting out, and you're trying to keep them sitting still while you're getting your settings and you're looking at your light, and you're like, how do I make this interesting with composition? And it's too much. So instead, I think it's important that you focus on just getting your settings right. And she had said the same thing, that that's what she focused on. So what I think you should do is just think about setting your aperture, shutter speed, and your ISO. Make sure you're getting your focus correct, using single focal points. These are the things that you should be thinking about. I don't want you to be worrying about how to use light in an interesting way or how to compose a really compelling image. When you're shooting with manual mode, you're working with your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. I recommend setting those in a certain order every time you take a photo. This will help your brain start to remember what to do, and you'll eventually get to the point that you don't even have to think about it. When you pull your camera up to your face, your fingers will start doing the work, which is awesome, but don't worry, it comes with time and a lot of practice. So the way you do that is you're going to pick one of the settings to set first. Personally, I set my aperture first, and the reason for that is I want to set up the shot the way I want it. And since aperture affects not only the amount of light coming in, but how much of our image is in focus, that's why I want to do that one. I typically start with my aperture at 3.2. That helps me get most of my kids in focus, and it's a very comfortable setting for me. However, if you want to shoot wider so that less of your image is in focus, you could shoot as wide as f2.2 or even f1.4. I don't recommend shooting that wide all the time until you're very comfortable with your settings. And then also keep in mind that if you're shooting landscape or groups, that you want to change your aperture to be at more stop down or a higher number. So maybe with landscape photography, you'd shoot at f14 or something. So these are things that you have to be thinking about, and so that's why I set my aperture first. Next, I set my shutter speed, and I always set it at least at 1/125th of a second, and I do that to make sure that I do not have motion blur caused by the shutter speed. Since most of the time I'm photographing my kids, I always have moving subjects, and so I always want to make sure that my image is as tack sharp as possible. And since I know that 1/125th is as low as I can go, and that's what I recommend, you don't go any lower than that. You can obviously go higher if you need to. That helps me have a really good starting point. And next, I just look at my meter and figure out how much light do I need. Do I have too much light? Do I need more light? And that's when I adjust my ISO. So if I have too much light, I'll lower my ISO. If I need more light, I'm going to raise my ISO. One little note I just want to say is please do not be afraid to raise your ISO. I know that's something that a lot of photographers are hesitant to do. They're worried about adding noise to their image, but I promise you your image will look better if you raise your ISO and get a properly exposed image versus trying to keep your ISO low in hopes that you're going to avoid the noise. One thing I really want you to focus on when you're working with these settings is making sure that you're getting your exposure correct. A lot of times I hear people say, oh, I'll just fix it in post-processing. I'll pull it on Lightroom and fix it later. Please do not get into that habit. One, we don't want to be living behind our computer. You don't want to take all these amazing pictures. If you'd just taken a few more seconds to set it up correctly, it would just be a quick fix, or not a fix. It would just be a quick editing in Lightroom. Some people think that you can fix anything in Lightroom or Photoshop, but you can't really. Yes, you can fix exposure and white balance, and you can enhance it, and I do edit every photo I take, so I have nothing against editing. But you can't fix things like a blurry photo, if people are out of focus. If it's drastically underexposed, trying to fix it will lower the quality of your photo. So that's why it's important just to take the time and get your settings right in camera. Keep in mind, photographers mess up their settings all the time. I still miss the focus. I still have underexposed images when I'm not paying attention to my settings. And that's completely normal. But if the majority of your photos are like that, I want you to slow down and really focus on your settings. Once you become comfortable shooting in manual mode, then you can move on to composition. Now, if you're not able to get the photos the way you want them and you're still kind of tripped up on the settings and completely understanding manual mode, then I'm going to do a shameless plug for my course, The Beginner's Guide to Manual Mode, which is included in the photography bundle by the 5-day deal, which is happening right now. And you can snag that at a cheaper price than I even sell it for, which is awesome. So go check out that course. Once you feel comfortable with your settings, then you can start pulling in composition or using light in a different way. Yes, we have to use light when we're doing our settings because you need light and you're working with it. But what I'm talking about is challenging yourself in different lighting situations. Inside the photography bundle, there is a course called Magic with Any Light Masterclass, which covers how to shoot in full sun all the way to using candlelight. And that could be really a fun way for you to push your photography to learn to work with those different types of light and grow as a photographer. In addition to adding different types of light to your photography to get the shot that you're looking for, you can also start incorporating different compositional guides. Inside the photography bundle, there is an ebook called The Modern Approach to Photographic Composition, which covers a lot of different compositional guides to help you really draw your viewer into the photo. They cover things from more basic guides like the rule of third, all the way to more advanced guides like the golden ratio. So definitely check that one out as well if you're ready to take your photography to the next level using composition. So click the link below and go check out the photography bundle while it's still available. It's just a few more days. And look out for our video tomorrow for day 3 of Photography Week.